Good morning. How are you doing? Welcome to day 8. Day 8 already. It just seems like yesterday I was introducing myself. So I hope you all had a great weekend, and first things first, I hope you all managed to get some Qigong practice in. I know quite a few of you did because you were talking on Slack, but I'm also conscious that not all of you who are taking part in this challenge are involved with the Slack, and that's absolutely fine as well. We're going to talk about that just a little bit later on. As you can see, I'm not sitting at this session. I am going to be shortly, but to break it up for you, because as this challenge gets longer, there'll be more movement to do, and I don't want to wear you out. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break it up. So what we're going to do now is, those of you who can and want to stand, please do stand now. We're going to do the warm-ups that we learnt last week now. Then we're going to take a bit of a break, have a quick chat, or I'm going to be talking to you about a couple of things. Then we're going to be learning movement 4, and then we'll have our live chat at the end of class, as always. So please do stand if you wish to. If you're sitting down, please just prepare yourself for some movement. It's just a good way just to wake ourselves up first, give ourselves some space first, and then we'll get on and share it out over each session. So good morning, all of you. I know you're saying good morning. Hi. I can see Diane on there. I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm going to squint now. I can see Diane, I think. Christine, hi. Hayley, hi. Lynn, hi. Bridget, Ian, and I know there's a few more of you on who perhaps haven't sort of checked in. If you can't see the live chat box on next to your player, there is a little arrow next to the player. If you just click that or just press it, depending on what you're using, the live chat box should open up. If you're looking at the player screen in full, you won't see the chat box. You won't be able to join in on that. So just in case you're thinking, what's he talking about? I can't see my chat box. That's maybe why. Okay, so let's settle into our Wu Chi. Welcome this Monday. So the more regularly we practice this, and it becomes a daily part of our lives, the body just says, I know you. The muscle memory remembers what we're doing. Nice and easy. Connect with the 3 treasures. Softening the joints, allowing the inner ocean to flow. Centering your bubble in your internal spirit level. Left, right, front, back. Helium balloon head attached to its piece of string, your spine, attached to your tailbone and pelvis to tether it down. Allow your bones to float. Float in your ocean body. It helps to remember the analogy of sinking your lower legs down into to the sand or to the earth. Spread your roots down deep and far, just like a tree. Remember, you can place your hands or tap anywhere on your thighs to engage your thighs a little bit more. Your thighs are like buoys floating. Breathe. Soft and smooth and even, full breaths. Conscious of your full inhale. Don't hold the breath. The exhale, conscious of your full exhale. When we do have a mind full of thoughts, it's a really lovely way to think about the mind. So imagine a clear, pure, original mind. It's like the blue sky. Each time a thought comes into your mind, it's like a cloud in your blue sky. Sometimes those clouds are wispy, candy floss clouds. It's a very small thought. Sometimes they're thick, dense cotton wool clouds. Not a bad thought, just a thought. Yet sometimes those thoughts can be much darker clouds. In fact, you may feel that it's only cloud. And the thing that moves clouds along, they're never there permanently, is the wind. The breathe, and that's your breath. So just notice when you get caught in your thoughts, when you get caught in your clouds, bring yourself back to your breathing. Just let those clouds move on. Reveal your blue sky. Good, well done, very well done. That's a good few minutes of standing. Now let's just gently ease into the shake. Very lightly from your belly, from your thighs. Let everything else just hang. Enjoy, smile, no inhibitions. remember to tilt to the sides. Now, you're going to hear me breathing quite audibly through the microphone. I'm not doing that so you can hear. When we shake, we purposefully have an audible exhale and inhale, as if we're shaking out all that stagnant air that we don't need deep in the lungs. We can use the mouth to breathe whilst we're shaking. I tend to breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth. Good. Now getting that shake to the end of your tail. Excellent. Okay, so now what we're going to do is from the shake, continue to shake now, but we're going to slow it down. And as we slow it down, we're going to shift weight, bring our centre of gravity over one leg, it doesn't matter which, take a slightly wider stance. The shake comes to a standstill, but we go into our slosh. Breathe freely, the breath is quieter now. Now we get this sense of bringing our centre of gravity over one side, then the other. Remember, it's 70%. Your knees will bend. Sit into the kwa. Sit into the kwa. Good. Skyhook attached. Your helium balloon is still light. I'd like you just to think about this movement as emptying and filling, emptying and filling, emptying and filling from one side to the other. Now, you're never fully empty or completely full because we're always moving. Use your mind, Yi Dao, Qi Dao, to move your inner ocean. Moving our energy, nutrient-rich inner ocean all around our body, physically and mentally. Good. Wonderful. So from here, we're going to transition into the first swing. Swing one we did last week. So as you transfer your weight, we're going to move the empty leg, the light leg, just a little bit in. Then we keep on sloshing nice and slowly, bring the other leg in until we come back to the hip width stance that we originally start at. As you can see, I'm still sloshing. And now I'm going to use my lower dantian to turn into swing one. So there's always a transition, gentle, slow movement arms hang. Use your lower dantian to gently, very gently swing you. Connect your three treasures to the heavens, to the earth, you in the middle. Gently allowing your arms to tap and wrap around your body as best as you can. And feel, just notice where you can feel your body connecting with this movement. You can feel your body spiraling, gently turning, twisting. Well done. We're going to gently bring that to a standstill. I'm going to arrive back in Wu Chi. Notice any sensations in your body. Good. Well done. Wiggle your toes, your fingers, your nose. Okay. Please, if you wish to take a seat, take a seat. That's our warm-ups done. Okay, so now I appreciate that that the slack's not for everybody. You know, so for lots of reasons. Sometimes it's just like, do you know what? I just don't want to be bothered with the slack. Sometimes another platform to engage with in a time where so many of us are already spending a lot of time online. The last thing we want to do is join another platform, and I completely get it. So what I didn't want to do is I didn't want those of you who don't join the Slack to miss out on the class notes, and all they are my notes that I just upload onto Slack, just to act as a or just something to remind you really of what I've said, and maybe go into just a little bit more detail. So as you'll see, if you look at your screen, your player now, underneath the player you'll see Add to Favorites and Share button. Underneath that there's an About tab, and on this particular class, today's class day 8, you'll see a Resources tab. If you just click that Resources tab, you will see all of the PDFs that I have already uploaded to Slack. So if you're on Slack and you've seen those PDFs, they're there. You've seen them all. You don't need to worry about this. For those of you who aren't engaging with Slack, you can download the PDFs, those class notes just there. As and when, so keep an eye out on the classes. If you see a Resources button, that means I've uploaded something, and I will remind you during the class that there will be a download for you should you wish to. I hope that really helps you. So, a couple of things that have been mentioned over conversations and is your experiences with Qigong. And I just want to highlight these in these sessions because I think they're important, and I think you're probably not alone in experiencing them. There are many different experiences, sensational experiences, our sensations in Qigong. And some of them are, the majority of them are really pleasant, and some of them you can feel a little unpleasant, a little lightheaded, for instance. Sometimes you can get a little nauseous with the movements and the swaying. It could be like you're in a little boat and you're getting a little bit seasick. That's just creating movement, and when we create that movement, and when we do use the analogy of that inner ocean, sometimes we can really sort of sink so deeply into it that we can start to feel a little bit that way. It's normal, and what I'll try and do is, quite some time ago, as in years ago, I asked all my students to list what their sensations are in their Qigong that they don't mind sharing. And hi Cara, hello, you come to join us. And I made a list of them. So what I'll do is I'll post those up as well as an upload, just so that you can see whether something you're experiencing is on that list. And it might not be, and you might have some new stuff. And it's very normal. It's very normal to experience different sensations, tingles, light, different coloured light. Sometimes we can be standing there and someone will stop after class or text me these days or send me an email and say, Dennis, I felt this sort of, and more often not, it's purple, the colour, but this purple light appear. And, you know, for some people, that's how they will connect with being, or more often not, quite still in Wu Qis that when that happens. And that's really, really normal. That's so individual as well that you could experience these things within your Qigong. So, and good for you. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. The other thing is through the physical practice that a couple of people mentioned, and that is an imbalance of the feeling from left to right. And that, you know, when we slowly start to practice and it becomes a regular thing, when we're doing our movements, and sometimes we can feel, again, different sensations, and they're so individual, but maybe heavier on one side and lighter on the other, maybe numb on one side or number on one side, and super sensitive on the other side. Again, these sensations are normal, and what they are is you slowly starting to build an awareness, an internal awareness. You're starting to notice the imbalances that you have, and it's nothing to concern yourself about, rather to learn from, rather for you to notice that you might have an imbalance, and it's in that noticing itself you will start to slowly rebalance the imbalance. Just in the noticing, you'll slowly start to bring more awareness to your heavier side or number side or your lighter side. And just in that action, that Yi Dao, Qi Dao, you'll slowly start to balance yourself, your inner ocean. And in time, however long that period of time may be, then you will slowly start to harmonize. So again, don't worry about it. Don't think it's not working. It's just very common. And because a couple of you mentioned it, rather than just sort of replying to one or two people, it's better to answer those questions as a general group, because several of you might well be experiencing that, or in the future may well experience that. So moving on. Your weekend. I hope you managed to practice at the weekend. I hope you managed to get something in on Saturday and Sunday. And it really is good, even if you're not using Slack, just to let someone know, oh, I'm doing my Qigong now, because that sort of holds you accountable for doing something. And you don't want to let yourself down once you've told someone else that you're going to be doing something. So even if you're not using Slack, tell someone else. If you're not using Slack, but you want to tell me privately, then just text me. You can text me on my WhatsApp number, and I shall give that to you at the end of class when I remember it, because I never remember numbers, and I just want to say it and it's gone, so it will come back to me. But making yourself accountable will give you that impetus to do it. And remember, this weekend was just a 20-minute session, was all we're looking for. The next movement, we're going to move on to that now. Movement 4. New movement 4 is a more detailed movement. There are certain parts to the movement to make it one full movement. So I'm going to teach you those parts over the next couple of days. This movement involves the spine, and when we come to work with the spine, I would really like you to bring your 70% down, down, down. You know, if you know that you have been quite sedentary for a long time, then bring it down to 20%, 30% activity, as in, you'll see what I mean a bit later on, but sort of the way that you move. If you're still fairly active and you don't have any sort of back conditions, then you can still work to 60, 50%, but try not to, just keep it really comfortable at the moment. And the reason being is that the spine is central to our nervous systems and central to our well-being. And so many of us have backache. So it's coming at this really gently, really delicately, really, really slowly, okay? So what we're going to do is, whether you're seated, you can remain seated. If you're happy to sort of partake in standing up, or you'd like to give this a go standing up, then let's do that now together. Okay, so I've just seen a note on there that a couple of you are a little bit late due to sort of techie issues. I know it happens, and it doesn't matter. Hi, welcome, and you can always catch up on class a little bit later, or what you've missed. So uphold the moon. Let me show you what the movement looks like, so you know what to expect, and then I'm going to break it down for you in little chunks, and little sort of micro teaching, I call it. So the movement is, and please just watch and observe at the moment rather than do. So it looks nice and simple, hey? And that's uphold the moon. And it might look simple on the outside, but it's how you're engaging your body correctly to do the movement, to make the movement. And as I mentioned, specifically the spine. So first things first, let's do this together now. We're in Wu Qi, okay? So gently align yourselves into your Wu Qi posture. And we're going to create 3 partial bends, okay? I'm going to show you what I mean. The first one, the simplest one we're going to start with, and that's the third bend, the bend with the legs. And what I'd like you to do is bend your knees until they go to the level of your toes. So not past, but just bend your knees to the level of your toes and then use your thighs to come back up again. Don't lock your knees when you come back up. Let's do that again. Bend your knees to the level of your toes. Okay, good. Put one hand on just below your navel. One hand, if you can, on your back. Now, if you're seated doing this, then the next parts you're going to be able to engage because obviously your knees are already bent. But it's worthwhile just observing this because you never know, one day you may well get up and this will just plant the seed of what you're doing. So when I put one hand on the back, I just put the back of my hand on the back because it's far easier than trying to do this, which creates an awkward twist with my upper arm. So I bend my knees, I tuck, and I just want to feel what's happening when I bend my knees. What can you feel happen to your pelvis? Anything? Is it going down? Can you feel it going backwards? Can you feel it tucking under? What can you feel as you bend your knees a little? So when you come up and down, okay. So it's different for everybody, okay? That feeling, that sensation is different for everybody, where the pelvis may well go as the knee bends. Now, what I'd also now like you to do is, you don't have to have your hand on your back now, because that can be a little straining for the arm. It was just to feel so we can notice. So place your hands on just beneath your navel down to your pubic bone. And I'd like you to tilt your pelvis forward. So your pubic bone, just try and isolate everything else, and your pubic bone is doing that. So this is your spine and you're just moving your pubic bone. You're tilting your whole pelvis forward. Now you can put your hand here on your pubic bone, and what we can also do is put both hands on the hips and tilt the pelvis forward. Now you're going to notice this in your lower back, and you're going to probably notice this here in your upper thighs. Okay, that's enough of that already. Okay, just that movement there really engages the lower back, which is why we come at this a little micro teaching. So what I'd like you to do now is, as you bend your knees and you sink down, as we've just done, I'd also like you to tilt your pelvis as you've just done, and we do those together. So bend knees, let's call it tuck under. Tucking your tailbone under and in, as if you're a dog bringing their tailbone inwards. And come back up again with your thighs, just come back to a neutral position, don't lock. Good, let's do that again. Knees bend, tuck under, and up. Knees bend, tuck under. Okay. Once more. Good, shake out. You might be feeling this already in the legs, that up and down movement, just engaging the thighs, slowly starting to develop your thighs. It's also developing your calves too. So the stronger our legs become, these form the basis of the rest of the body for its stability and strength. So stronger legs can then result in the body being more mobile, more agile, and a stronger body, because you can rely on these a bit more and everything starts to move a bit better. So as you've noticed, and with the stand, we've got to engage the thighs. Okay, let's do that again. Just a few more. Hold your pelvis whichever way you want to sort of feel it. Okay, let's do this again 3 times. Bend knees, tuck under, and up. Bend knees, tuck under, and up. Once more, bend knees, tuck under, and up. Excellent. Perfect. Okay, so that's one bend. Okay, that's one of our bends. We're going to get back to that a little later on. Now I'm going to jump to the first bend. It will make sense why I'm jumping left and right a little bit later on. The first bend is the top of the spine. So the three bends essentially work on the three parts of your spine. So your cervical spine, so your neck, thoracic spine, which is the sort of the middle chunk of your spine, and your lumbar spine. And it does also include the pelvis, but we're just going to call it lumbar spine for the moment. So those three parts of the spine we're going to be treating independently for the moment. And we've just done lumbar. Okay, we've just done that, opening up the lower spine. Now, thoracic, the top part of the spine, our neck. So there are a couple of analogies here that I've used over the years. That is of a crane or a heron and a turtle. So you want to imagine that you've got this nice long neck without overstretching, okay? Without overstretching. So let's do this together. I'd like you just to bring your, as if your sky hook, the hook that's connected to the crown of your head, lifts up a little bit. Drop your chin in. So make sure your chin's not out, but drop your chin in and just lift your neck and just let it release. These are really subtle movements, okay, especially with the neck. So don't expect yourself to become a giraffe. That's not going to happen. And don't try and get yourself to a giraffe. Definitely don't. So just gently lift, drop your chin in and relax. Again, drop your chin in, lift from the crown of your head and relax. So you should feel this part of your neck here. And you can actually put your hand here if you wish. You can feel some very gentle, subtle movement happening here. Don't expect huge movements, there won't be. Just the subtle movement that we're looking for. Okay. So now with the head lifted, drop your chin in. I'd like you to go forward with your head. So this is where the turtle bit comes in. Imagine the turtle put its head in its shell and it wants to peer outwards and it wants to be a little bit wary. So it's going to go up, stick its head out of its shell. Then it's going to go, oh, it's all safe, and I'm going to go forward just a little bit. Okay? Let me stand to the side to show you. Up, forward. And it's my whole head going forward and come back. Up, forward, and back. Up, forward, and back. Once more. Up, forward and back. Good. Up, forward and back. Good, good. Okay, so the next part to the crane neck or the heron neck is the looking down. Now here's when you want to keep space between your chin and your chest. So again, I'm going to show you side on. Up, forward, and I curl my neck over as if I'm trying to hold on to a ball here. But my neck has been lifted, forward, and ball. So now I'm looking down at the ground there. For me here, I'm looking at the feet of the table just there. Not direct down, but the feet of the table. Then I come back up. Okay, so let's do that together. Head up. Forward, roll your head over. Good. Now I'd like you to take your fist, loose fist, place it on your chest and let your chin rest on your fist. And that's the space that you want to keep. I'm going to move my hand away because my microphone, I'm conscious I'm going to keep hitting the microphone. So up, good. So up, forward, roll over, keep your fist there. Good. And when you're confident that you've got that space there, you don't have to put your fist there. That's just for you to remind yourself where you're going at the moment. So up, forward, over, and back. Up, forward, over. Good. Up, forward, and over. And let's just let that go for a moment. Okay, so that's the thoracic, cervical opening of your spine. Okay, thoracic's in the middle, my mistake. So the cervical, the neck, we sometimes think that the further we move our head, the further we pull it down, we're opening it. Actually, no, we go beyond opening it, and then we start to squeeze the vertebrae, and that's not what we're after. What we're trying to do with this movement is create space in the spine. So last week I spoke about when we stand, and when I mentioned to you about the floating bones, and we want to feel like our bones aren't stacked in some sort of compression. That goes for the spine, that the spine's not compressed down. Actually, we want the spine to feel like it's springy, and we want space in the spine to allow the spinal fluids to be able to do what they're there to do, rather than to be, when the vertebrae close so much and pinch everything, that not only affects the nervous system, but that also affects the health of your spine. So by doing this, we're going to be helping the nervous system, but we're also going to be helping the health of the spine with all our inner ocean being able to feed it. So the cervical movement, the neck movement, is really keeping that space between your chin and your chest and just lengthening it, keeping it lengthened, keeping it lengthened, keeping it lengthened, and then looking down and then back. Okay, that's keeping it nice and long and bringing it back. Okay, let's leave the first bend for the moment. Let's go back down to the third bend. So do you remember what we're doing? Bend knees, tuck under. Okay, we're going to do that 3 times together. Place your hands wherever on your body if you want to. Okay, together, bend knees, tuck under, and up. Good, bend knees, tuck under, and up. Once more, bend knees, tuck under, and up. Good. First bend 3 times. Head up, forward, over, and back. Now do this as one smooth movement rather than 3 little movements. Once more. Good. Wonderful. So tomorrow we're going to add the bend 2 in this. Okay, we're just, like I said, really nice and gently with spinal work at the moment. And then tomorrow, once we've learnt bend 2, we'll then put bend 1, 2 and 3 as one smooth movement to create this beautiful C shape with the spine. But by learning the 3 bends individually, you're going to create a lovely open spine rather than the opposite and just doing it mindlessly. Okay, so well done, well done. If you feel a little achy in the neck, lower back, normal. Okay, it's normal. You're using parts of your body that you perhaps haven't engaged in that way for quite some time. So please expect a little bit of achiness. So what I'd like to do now with you is to do movements 1, 2 and 3 of last week. Compressing the pearl, flying hands, peacock fans its tail. Standing Wu Chi with me, please. Breathe. Let your hands float out, discover your Chi. Space in the armpit. Good. Now with your breathing, when you breathe in, start to move Breathe out, come back in. Remember to move like a puppet, swimming through thick air. Good. And what I'd like you to do now is bring your awareness to your armpits, as if your armpits are yawning. So just like the mouth goes, oh, I'm sorry if I made you yawn there, but if your mouth opens up to yawn, your body is tired and your body just automatically wants to take in more oxygen to wake it up a little bit. So imagine your armpits need to do the same thing for your body. So your armpits yawn, open, without moving your shoulders up. It's just the armpits open and close. Yawning armpits. Good. Moving according to the rhythm of your breath. Movement 2, flying hands. Turn palms, face thighs, fingers point downwards over toes. Bend elbows, yawning armpit. Fly away. Good. Breathe in. Breathe out. Beautiful. Well done. Smooth. And let's transition into movement 3. Peacock fans its tail. Next time the hands come down, they fly away. Fingers point down in between your feet. Drawing 2 arcs. Breathe in. Make that connection across your chest. Breathe out. Yawning armpits, moving through thick air. Well done. And when your hands come out to the sides, I'd like you just to turn your palms and just let them float down either side of you, just to come back to Wuchi. Slosh, mini slosh, to move your empty leg inwards. Good. Let's close together, nice long extended inhale. Extended exhale, sinking your mind into your lower dantian. replenishing your wick and your wax. And close. Thank you. Thank you for joining today. So let's head over to the live chat and ask any questions that you may have, and I'll try and answer them for you. Fire away if you've got any questions for me. I know that a couple of you have some login issues. I'm not sure why that is. I don't think it's anything my end. My when all of these classes I stream live, I'm usually live 2 or 3 minutes before the class starts. So that gives you the opportunity to, so therefore the stream should be active by the time you arrive. Refresh should you need to, and just sometimes, you know, you might just need to just close the page down and start again. That's not just for my website, but that's for anything else that you might be watching live sometimes. You know, sometimes just that connection needs to be remade fully. So that may well help you. Please let me know if you've got any questions about today's class. I'll just answer another question that was asked in Slack, whilst any of you may well get in touch with me here. And that is yawning, excessive yawning during practice. And that happens so often. And the amount of times people try to hide their yawn as if I'm going to be sort of offended by that. I'm not offended. Obviously, I can't see you now, but I'm so used to people yawning in class. And that's not, I don't take it as that you're bored of class, okay? In Qigong terms, yawning means that you are releasing stagnant energy. So actually, it's a good thing. So allow yourself to yawn. Don't try and hold it back. Of course, it could mean that you are tired as well, but when it actually happens within Qigong, usually that's what we refer it to. It's a release of stagnant energy, which is good. We don't want that stagnancy. Any questions from anybody? So with today's class, try and build in anything you've learnt. How can you incorporate that into your day? And breathing. Notice your breathing, your movement. Be just a little bit more conscious and of your movement. So if it's going to get a cup of water or a cup of tea or coffee, whatever it may be, rather than just sort of going for it and still reading your email and sort of hunting around for it, just take just a few moments, conscious of what you're doing, of how your hand touches the cup and how does that feel? How does the cup feel? How does the handle feel? And then when you just take a drink, how does that feel? It only takes a moment, but what it's doing is training your awareness, your attention. And these are all really key and good things for you to do. Lots to think about, Hayley. No questions? Okay, no problems at all. I think that looks like probably the general flow of today's class. Not many questions, and that's absolutely fine. So tomorrow we're going to progress with movement 4. We're going to complete the spinal C and add that into the full movement that I demonstrated for you today. In the meantime, look after yourselves, look after each other, have a fabulous day, and I look forward to seeing you on day 9. Take care. Bye-bye.